The scourge of equality, diversity and inclusion training ravaging our institutions, EDI for short, is said to be having little to no impact on reducing prejudice. That's according to a damning new government report. Despite local council spending on EDI roles doubling to a staggering 52 million quid, Equalities Minister Kemi Badenoch told the Daily Telegraph many EDI practices, such as diversity training, have not only been proven to be ineffective, they've also been counterproductive. One example is the report about the RAF focusing on hiring women and ethnic minorities, which led to unlawful positive discrimination against white men, quite literally sacrificing the defence of the realm there. Elsewhere, the BBC is splashing out around £600,000 a year on EDI training, Labour a whopping £1.4 million, and the bloated NHS, here we go, £13 million on diversity officers and training courses. So, what do you think? Has the relentless focus on diversity and inclusion been bad for Britain? Let me know your thoughts. Email me, gbviews@gbnews.com. Tweet me at GBNews, and make sure you go and take part in our poll. The results to follow shortly. But doing battle on this now is broadcaster Benjamin Butterworth and YouTuber Pearl Davis. Look, I always go ladies first. Pearl, I'll start with you. Do you think diversity and inclusion and equality has made Britain worse?
I don't think we need these programs. We're not asking for this. You know, you can't eliminate prejudice. You can't put in a program and eliminate prejudice. I don't think we need it. I don't think we need special treatment and programs just because I am born a woman.
OK, Benjamin, what do you think? Do you think it's done more to drive a wedge between us?
Well, look, I appreciate that at least Pearl has been honest, that she doesn't care about prejudice. She doesn't care if women are on the receiving end of discrimination. She says there's no point trying to overcome it because you can't. At least that's an honest answer to people that want exclusion and narrow-minded workplaces.
Like, what are you going to put in a program that's going to make someone prejudiced than not prejudice?
Well, of course, prejudice, by definition... Prejudice, by definition, is a learned behaviour. You know, none of us are born hating black people or women or gay people, but some people develop those hatreds. They develop them in subtle ways or acute ways, and that causes serious problems. And I think when you talk about workplaces, when you have those kind of attitudes that can be prevalent and that can be subtle, that means that people of those minority descriptions can't fulfil their potential.
Okay. I just think if these programs were effective, they would be working. They're clearly not. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. And I don't need special treatment because I'm a woman. I think the best person for the job should get the job. There shouldn't be preferential hiring practices.
So tell me this, when you have a workplace, as would have been commonplace a couple of decades ago and still clearly exists today, whereby you have a load of white men who have deeply sexist attitudes, who simply... But let me finish the question.
But your preference, like, why are we assuming that they're sexist?
Well, I'm telling you, not long ago in this country, as in America, I'm sure, you have offices where they're run by old white men who have prejudiced attitudes to women, who believe they aren't as clever, who believe they aren't as capable. Don't pretend that this doesn't exist,
but if they're
Patrick. That's much of your audience.
And the fact is, if they were so sexist, why did they let women in? They didn't have to.
If I can't finish my question, then you can't answer it. The fact is that when you have a scenario where you have a load of people with those prejudices, then you need policies to help people develop their views.
I'm going to be really honest with you. You know, I'm quite offended. I'm very offended, and I dare say you will have offended the vast majority of people watching that you have just called our audience, what was it, prejudiced and all of that. So, I mean, that's a remarkable turn of phrase. I mean, that doesn't sound like very inclusive, Bill.
Well, why do we shame white men, for being white men? This is something I've heard since I was young. You know, what is wrong with being a straight white man? What's the problem with that? Why do we automatically assume that they're sexist, and then we wonder why male suicide is through the roof? Because we shame them just for being men.
No, that's complete nonsense. I mean, first of all, of course, you don't believe that women deserve the right to vote. That's correct.
That's true.
Right. Do you believe they should work?
I don't have a problem with women working.
Right, OK, very progressive of you. So just to put this in context, the person that says that we don't need diversity and inclusion explicitly agrees with exclusion. You believe that women aren't capable to vote.
I'll tell you, do you want to know why I don't think women should vote? Or are you just trying to jump to conclusions? I think we all do now, yeah. So the reason I don't think women should vote is because we don't do the infrastructure jobs, we don't pay taxes, we're a net tax loss.
Well, you might not be paying taxes, but I feel like HMRC might be on their newly returned helpline.
As a group, look it up, we're not. not. And so my thing is, if you want to vote, you have to have some skin in the game. And right now, women are not doing the infrastructure jobs. We're not contributing to society as a whole.
And there we have it. Hang on. There we have it. There we have it. My argument in a nutshell. Hang on. You made my argument for me.
What percent of infrastructure jobs do you think women do?
Well, it doesn't matter. I'm going to take you at your word that women are underrepresented in groups like infrastructure, that they still don't earn as much, and hence that's why they don't pay as much.
Hang on a minute.
You need to let me finish.
Because we don't want to do it.
All right. Look, hang on.
Let me make my argument. You just said that there are fewer women in jobs like infrastructure, that you don't earn as much. OK, and that is because there is institutional prejudice that is making it difficult for women to get there. And that's why you need diversity and inclusion officers. Thank you, Pearl, for making my argument.
Why aren't women picking to major in engineering? Why aren't women picking to go to trade schools when we get to
Because they are raised being told that those are jobs for the blokes.
That's not true. Since I was a kid. No, that's not true, because since I was a kid, I've had so much women's empowerment. There is nothing in society.
Well, it clearly didn't work, did it?
Let's put a pause in it. I will politely push back, Benjamin, that I do not think it is institutional sexism that stops women wanting to be scaffolders.
Of course it is.
It's not.
No, of course it is. No, because
not.
don't tell me, hang on, don't tell me that, a woman is less capable of being a scaffolder, or that a bloke is less capable of being a nurse. It is sexist attitudes that create those roles, right? Why do you think there aren't many male nurses? Do you think men are not capable of being a nurse? No, it's because they're told of sexist prejudice.
Let me ask you a different. Let me change tack and get away from the female side of it. I would like to ask you, we'll start with you, Benjamin, if all of this diversity and inclusion is such a good thing in major institutions like our NHS, they're spending something like 13 billion quid on it all, why on earth is the NHS such an absolute shower? Why are our local councils all going bankrupt, all of this stuff? If diversity and inclusion was leading to better people being right at the top of it and running them well, why on earth are we in this situation?
Well, the fact that the NHS is in a problem is because of the government that we've been chosen, which is largely elected by old, straight, white people.
Who's leading
so
that
quite
government?
frankly, I think that shows an issue. Rishi Sunak. And I think what's been evident from the racist funders of the Tory party in recent weeks, that's hardly a great example of diversity and inclusion.
Do you think that there's been positives, Pearl, of, empowerment for ethnic groups, etc.? We've seen things like positive action, I suppose we would call it. Do you think there's been a net benefit to that at all?
I think that the best people for jobs should get the jobs. I don't believe in any of these empowerment programs. I don't believe in any of these handouts. I think it's as simple as that.
Okay. The fact is that, I was speaking to a lawyer recently who's middle-aged now, and he's a gay man, and this person was saying about how when they were starting out in law, they didn't feel like they could be their full selves. Their career didn't progress as much because it was very homophobic at the time they were starting out.
And so,
do you know what? Do you ever let a man speak, Pearl? Honest to God. And the fact is that, you get so many examples of that. Don't tell me that a generation ago there were not black people intellectual and capable enough of running big businesses. The fact that they weren't, and the fact that many women weren't, far fewer, isn't because women weren't capable or those other minorities weren't capable. It's because there was a prejudice stopping the opportunity.
But then why,
and this is about overcoming it.
Final word spoken.
Then why aren't we doing it now? This is the thing. You can't push people into industries that don't want to do it.
But you push them away. That's what happens
women
now.
Don't want to be. Let a woman speak. Come on, you sexist. Come on. So it's we don't want to be bricklayers. We don't want to be plumbers. We're not picking these jobs. It's nothing to do with our sex. It's the industries that we pick.
We should all want to be plumbers. They're earning more than the rest of us.
OK, all right. Well, that was lively. All right. Well, who do you agree with? Thank you very much, by the way. That was wonderful. As Kemi Badenoch reveals that equality, diversity and inclusion training is having little to no impact, has the relentless focus on the subject been bad for Britain? Sandra on X says, diversity and inclusion policies are in reality incredibly divisive. A badge for a day or a flag for a week causes more harm than good. Lee says equality, diversity and inclusion training has no place in any well-oiled business. Sarah says diversity and inclusion training can help, but true progress comes from having good mentors to learn from, mentors from a variety of different backgrounds and experiences. Your verdict is now in. 96% of you agree that the relentless focus on diversity and inclusion training has been bad for Britain. 4% of you say that it has not.